So again, here's the need to be an example to the flock and set the pace.
Right, and we see that, right? So 2 Thessalonians 3:9, not because we do not have the right to do this, but in order to offer ourselves as a model for you so that you would follow our example. So the elder is that example that the flock can look to, again, not a symbol of perfection, but an example. And, as Paul would say, follow me as I follow Christ. That's what this elder does.
As you look at the list of qualifications here, other than he must be able to teach, which is the one kind of gifting that's mentioned within those qualifications, the character that you're looking for is character that you really expect from any believer. Mm-hmm. You don't look at any Christian and say it's okay for you not to be a one-woman man, any man,
Right.
You don't look at any Christian and say it's okay if you're not gentle. Well, of course it's not okay. So we're not saying that. So these are characters that you expect of any Christian, but the pastor is to be an example to the flock of these characters. So there's got to be some maturity there. Oftentimes when we're talking with new converts, we encourage them to examine their lives in light of the Word and look for fruit, spiritual fruit. And we caution them that as they do that, we're not expecting them to demonstrate mature fruit, certainly not in every area. Mm-hmm. They're newborn babes in Christ. So we're not looking for full-blown mature fruit, but do you see an example of life? Do you see a bud? When we come, though, to these men, we're not looking for buds, not even a tree full of buds. We're looking for mature fruit. We're looking for evidence that there's been some growth there. Not that there's not room for more growth, but growth has occurred.
Yeah, well, and even Paul mentions for an elder not to be a man that is a recent convert,
exactly.
Because pride puffs him up. And that's part of the reason why. There should be mature fruit. This is a man who's going to teach, who's going to lead. And so one other thing that all of these things kind of presuppose is that this maturity, this growth, this being an example is a present reality. It's not something that he can look back and say, 10 years ago, I was doing really well in this area. Look to that example. It's today.
Right. And it also does not mean that 10 years ago, I wasn't this, and so I'm disqualified today.
Yeah.
So, if I were an unbeliever 10 years ago, and I was known as being pugnacious, as the New American Standard says. I was a striker. I verbally, maybe even physically, I was
just
known for a temper, a brawler. Yes, but that's not the case today. Well, that's the question. What am I today?
Yeah, and again, going back to what we even talked about just a few minutes ago, is this man a repenter today?
Yes.
So all of these things and all the things that we're going to continue talking about with the qualifications, these must be realities today that are observable. And I know this is something that we're going to get into later on, but each of these things, they are objective and observable from just generally knowing the man.
Right. So we're presupposing that you do know something about the man, that you've had some opportunity to observe his life, or people who have observed his life and you trust their recommendation, right?
Right, and not only him, but also his wife and his children.
Right.
Not that you're examining them and, let's put them under the magnifying glass, but seeing how he manages his household, because
right.
That is a qualification.
Relationship with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So this removes I won't say it removes all subjective responses to an individual, but what we have to realize is that we have to take all of that subjectiveness, so personality quirks or even like friction between people. We're all sinful people. We're going to have friction with one another, but all of that subjectiveness has to be subservient to the objective realities and the objective qualifications that God himself has laid out for an elder.